Bros, it's so over. It's so bleak. But make sure to join the Discord server linked in the description so it can become peak again. Because that's how this build came into existence. Nice fucking plug, you stupid shill. Anyway, that's how this build came into existence. He wanted Force Sword and Void Strike Staff. Now, bros, I'm going to be honest with you, Void Strike bros. It's so over. It's never been more over. But, nevertheless, let's talk about it. So I like the shitty dueling sword that is the Demos. Yeah, this is one of those builds where a lot of problems would get solved if you just use the dueling sword. And the problem is Crushers, but we'll talk about that in a second. Carapace Flak, Uncanny, Unstable. This is literally your Crusher weapon TM. This build, like, you only use this in this build for Crushers. The Void Strike Staff, I like it with Flak, Crit Strike, Surge, Warp Nexus. With the increase to the HP breakpoints in Havoc, just spamming more shots with Warp Flurry, I think, is no longer better than Surge. The standard Curio setup. And now let's talk talents. Soul Stealer, Quietude, Perilous, Battle. I'd love to throw in Metal and Perfect Timing, I really would, but you are starved for points with this weapon. Why, what's going on over here, Mr. Berg? What's going on over here? Well, this. Unless you're gonna use the Illicai Force Sword, I mean, this is not what I'd call good Horde clear, right? This is like okay at best Horde clear. Feel free to change the Blitz to whatever. If you're going to use, like, the Illicai and you want less Horde clear, do that. But I feel like you kind of need to do this for Horde clear. Yeah, I feel like you're kind of limited in that regard. Sorry, this build's giving me cancer. So, I like Channeled Force and Empiric Shock, mostly because a lot of this stuff is just, we don't have the tools to really enable this other stuff over here. And this staff kind of benefits a bit from it anyways. You just pop this once, and then you, like, boom. You know, you just, like, pop, you just one time into boom. And then you go, like, once into boom. And it's like, you know, you kind of get just a little bit. Shoot him once with the left click, shoot him with the right click. There's some synergy there. It's a decent damage buff. Seer's Presence. You could drop Seer's Presence for Prescience, and honestly, that's probably a little bit better. It's just, Seer's Presence, like, so many people that are trying to use Prescience, they're literally just doing it because they want to be different and they want to be anti-meta. But, come on, we all know Seer's Presence is a little bit too good. Psychonetics Aura, even after the nerf, is just, I mean, you still have to run it. Fatshark, you are never gonna make this node weak. I'm just telling you that. Anyway, one with the warp for damage reduction. Bubble, because Bubble. If you don't want Bubble, you could maybe run Scryer's Gaze with this if you really wanted to, like, super ultra mega juice the staff. But if you're going to be playing Havoc, you're probably going to be stuck on Bubble Doobie, Psyker. Unless you're based, and then you go Scryer's Gaze. But, I don't know, I didn't like Scryer's Gaze with this staff. It was kind of not good. Solidity. Vulnerable Minds, Warp Rider. You just need damage, Quell. This is just for more survivability. True Aim, so after every 5 casts, you get a guaranteed crit. I kind of didn't want to include this because if we're being honest, it's just kind of not that good anymore after the nerf. But this is like the definitive Void Strike synergy. Guys, it's so fucking bleak, oh my god. And then Warp Siphon. Since you're not really, you know, Soul Blaze, you don't really have much Soul Blaze synergy. It's kind of, I was getting more of these charges with Psychic Vampire. It's so fucking... Alright, so what are the main problems with this build? That right there. That is the entire problem. You can sorta kinda deal with these. Maybe. It takes you like 5... It takes you like... Here, let's just count. 1, 2... So it takes you 1 normal cast and 2 critical casts to kill these Crushers. Which is way... When you consider this as 1 Crusher that spawn in like packs of like 10 to 15 to 20 at times, that's literally going to take you a minute to single target them down like that. This is extra worse when you consider that the discount dueling sword over here, you can just kind of do this and you just like, fuck, my Uncanny wore off. This is where I'd cut the static and, like, the video if I cared to edit. You can kill shit faster with, you know, just like with this. You can kind of kill them, like, just as fast or faster with the Force Sword. The actual, like, force attack of the sword is kind of bad because this second heavy attack just does a shitload of damage with Uncanny. So this is kind of what you're here to spam. You know, it just kind of deals with, like, everything for you. I guess you could maybe, like, try this, but that's not going to kill a Havoc Crusher, like, ever, so it's always going to be kind of bad. This is mostly just for sniping specials and elites, because it's actually pretty good at this. I won't lie. This will just absolutely run a fucking train on most of them, especially if you prime them by shooting one left click, and then you follow the right click with another immediate left click. You know, something like that. You will just immediately destroy them. But this is why I said this build would be vastly improved with Dueling Sword. Because with Dueling Sword, you could just, you know, like, deal with these guys immediately. You kind of don't need the Illusai because you have this. But if you were going to use the Illusai Force Sword, you would be in deep shit versus Crushers. So that's kind of just not an option. Really, the best part of this sword is if you have no Uncanny Strike, you left click and you get, like, all your Uncanny Strike, which sets up this. So this is really what I found myself doing most of the time. Walk up to a Crusher, do this, and then hit once, and then do that. And that's, like, your highest DPS way to kill a Crusher. It's still way worse than the Dueling Sword will do the exact same thing, but hey, it will fit the Psychery theme. If you were going to run Scryer's Gaze, you would literally just, like, take away True Aim or whatever, because this synergy doesn't work anymore. You used to just shoot this once through a horde, and then you would build, like, you know, you would build, like, 5 stacks instantly, so it would be like, one shot builds the stack, shoot again, build the stack, shoot again, build the stacks, and it was, like, actually kind of decent. But it doesn't work like that anymore. And honestly, you're probably just better off just not trying to play around this and just playing Scryer's Gaze and taking, like, you know, Precog and Warp Unbound and just, like, spamming. If you wanted to go nothing but the voidstrike staff, here, if you wanted to go nothing but voidstrike staff, right? Like, literally, you don't care about anything else other than spamming the voidstrike staff, you could do something like this. This is if you literally only... We're going to do this shit live. Literally only if you wanted to spam, like, the voidstrike staff. You could go with, like, some bullshit like this. And then, honestly, maybe get rid of Vulnerable Minds for Solidity so you spam harder. You could do something like this. You could also drop this as well. And you could grab, like, this is how you can introduce Vulnerable Minds or Warp Ghost or whatever. You could do something like this. And if you're curious about what this looks like, let me just do Renegade. These are specials. We need elites on off. And then we need, like, yeah, we need, like, this, and then invisibility off. This is the wrong motherfucking staff. Sorry, I was recording the other video as well. You could, like, do something like this. And, you know, you could just, like... Now, this is if you're, like, a true Giga Chad staff user only. And now you can start, like, body-shotting these guys if you get, like, the double crit. Yeah, exactly like that. And then if we turn this on, turn this back on, you can see that now you can start doing some, like, some sort of stuff. You're still terrible versus armor, but now you can just start, like, you know, shitting these out, and they kind of do, like, okay damage because of all the other stuff that you picked beforehand. It's, like, not the literal worst thing in the world, but I wouldn't recommend playing like this. This is more if you're playing, like, in an Auric, you can get away with doing this. Because, you still kind of suck versus Crushers. You know, if you do this and then you, like, left click and then you, like, double crit their head and you take, like, an extra rending node, you can maybe kill that way. But, man, You know, like if you took penetration of the soul, if you did something like this instead, and then, you know, you like dropped maybe like you wouldn't need this in Oryx, so you'd have to drop like this. And God, you're just so stuck. You'd have to do something like this to maybe make this kill with like 30 stacks of this and this active. And this would be more like for Auric only type shit. Because right now I don't even have the stacks. This is just to give you an example of what the damage is like. You know, you're so banking on those crits. But yeah, I would just stick to this because this is more like anchory for the team. It's really hard to make this one work. I was talking to a lot of other like pretty decent Psyker players, and every single one said Lamau XD. This staff is terrible. But this is really the best that I could come up with and could get other people to say, yeah, that's like maybe playable. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. It's Bleak. Join the server.